available. So add membership is a duty of VPM. But as I mentioned before, if VPM not available, president, secretary, treasurer can do that. Sergeant arm can do that. And then submit payment. Whenever VPM insert database of new members, the treasurer will go to this menu, submit payment, and then it make balance and check. So treasurer can pay after we have membership database on in the system. And submit education award normally is a VPE duty. They will check this whenever base camp manager approve. And for your information, I would like to again focus that the base camp manager, there are three default base camp manager. The first one is VPE. The second one is the president of the club. And the third one is secretary. So three officers are default as the base camp manager. When you log in to Pathway, the system will ask you, you want to log in for your personal account or as the base camp manager? So three officers can do that. The rest of the officers cannot be the base camp, so cannot approve the education award. But after that, as Lana mentioned, the second step you must do is to submit education award here. And not normally by VPE or any officers, one of 7 officers can do that. After that, club roster. Yeah, every club officer should check on that. How many club members we have at the moment on board. And we can also edit the database of officers. For example, email and the telephone number, anything database, except one thing we cannot, the name of the member we cannot edit. Only the member can edit their name. Just maybe they got married and they want to change their family name. We cannot do for them. You can instruct them to do by themselves. The only thing that we cannot do is the name. So ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for this again, club administration. Club officer assignment. This is very vital, very crucial, because you can change club officer at any time. For example, if you resign or you don't renew, yes, the EXO must decide who will take charge. You can change the name, or you can at any time. You don't have to wait until the end of the term. But the most important thing to get the goal number 10 of DCP, you have to submit the new term by doing this. And the previous term officers must be responsible for submit the new club officers in time in order that you can achieve goal number 10, right? So this is very important at the end of the term, 1 month before the end of the term. Yes, if you have semi-annual term officers, you have to do it in December and in June. But if you have an annual term officers, you will do it once a year in June. Yes, in June. You can assign new officers, then submit here. And the secret here, I just mentioned to Wuni. The secret here, when you want to be qualified for submit club officers, don't wait for 7 officers and then submit. Just you need 3 officers. The first one is president. Second one is any vice president, one of 3. And the last one is secretary. So if your club submit 3 officers online by using club officer assignment, you will be done. Your club will be in good standing. Yes. including the 8 paid member, I mean. And then we will go ahead for your demonstration. If you want to add membership, and what I mentioned is supposed to be done by VPM, they should know this. If you add membership, you see this screen. The screen allow you to separate the reinstated members and the new member. So if you want to reinstate member, that means member who used to be Toastmaster from anywhere in the world and want to join you. In Chiang Mai, we have a lot of cases like this. We have many tourists, many foreigners to join us. So what you want to know is only surname and member ID or email. So input the surname of the reinstated member and the email. But if you don't know email or ID, what you will do? If you don't know anything about this, you can ask the headquarter, send them what you know, the what you know about this member, and wait for their response. I never find a single case that the headquarter cannot find for me. So that is the last support from the headquarter, except they are away from Toastmasters for too long. So this is to input the new member. But if we have the brand new who never been a Toastmaster before, you have to click this. Yes, you can see we have to add more information, address, and with the asterisk, the red one is a must. So you have this. But one thing I want to focus is this one, sponsor information. Most of the time we forget to recognize who introduced this new member to the club, and that is the sponsor. So we can check this one. You see, the name of the paid member will be here in the drop down menu. So if you want to add Brian, who introduced this new member, you can click Brian, you see. Or even you can add the sponsor from other club, not in my club, you see. Maybe Rob, if I know, yeah, it's a good practice. The reason why, because we want to recognize who bring this new member to our club. And if you are the one who introduce 5 new member to any club in the world, total is 5, you'll be recognized by a pin, direct delivery from TI. I used to have 10 members pin in 1 year. Because I introduced so many Toastmasters to join the Toastmasters club. Some of them left, but many of them still stay in the club. Yes. Okay, that is what I want to mention. Recognize people who bring the new members or reinstate member to the club by add information about sponsor. I will not go into detail about this, but the database of new member will be appear when the treasurer, for example, if we click already, right? Now we go back to submit payment. Then the treasurer will, after that you tell the treasurer that ready to pay. Treasurer will come here and submit payment. You will see, yes, it's like online shopping, right? This is the list of people who still not renew. And the people who, if the new member is here, you see, we have new member, Jonathan Dawson. He paid already, but I'm waiting for a few days. He paid for September to March. So if I will pay, I have to add this starting date and the end date. So you can see that. And one more thing, if you forget to add the sponsor at the application process, what you can do, you can send an email to membership explaining that you forget. They will do it for you. That another member is a sponsor. So everything you did you will be recognized. So here is the process. You can see we have 6 members not renew, right? And if they renew, I will put add to the cart, like it will be here. And then you continue for payment. And the payment is better by debit card or credit card. The treasurer of the club should have a special credit card or debit card, special for the club. So you don't be worried to mix up with your own. But now I just play, for example, now I remove. Okay. So this is the treasurer will do. And once you did it, it will be, the system will send you an email. You can also create a custom invoice, you see, to give some corporate club they need invoice. So this is a place where you can get it. So now back to another thing, Club Central, another menu. Submit education award. As mentioned by Alana, that if you approve, who are the best camp manager, remember? VPE, president or secretary, right? Once you approve, it still not appear in the district, in the DCP of your club. So you have to do this. And to do this, not only the base camp manager can do, everyone in 7 officers can do. So once you have to select first, if you want to add award for Brian, you check what is Brian is doing. Brian, online motivational strategy level 1. He complete already, approved by best camp manager, is waiting here. So I will do it now. You see, level 1, English motivation strategy, review award submission. Yes, level 1. And then we submit. Now it will be in the DCP, but DCP will be updated on the daily basis. It will be not right away. You have to wait. Education award submitted, you see, and and the email will be sent automatically. And then you may submit another one. You may choose again. Brian may be finished level 2 also, I believe. Yes, level 2, you see. So I will submit again. Submit award. Level 2. Then you can continue if you have more members. But I'm not sure. Brian maybe finished his level 3 already. I'm not sure. I have to check. Yes, he finished level 3 also, English. But this one is when you complete level 3, there is one thing happen. Letter of recognition. This is very important as well. Some employee of a corporate, they need this letter of recognition to the boss. You can help them as officers. So if you want to add the letter of recognition, you can click yes. If you don't want, no. In this case, for example, we need yes. You see, you need the address and the name. And office, the TI will send the letter right to this person to make sure that they acknowledge the achievement of their employee. So you see, it's good. So you need this information. So this is not the case, so I go back. But level 3, I click no, submit award. Yes. So that is an example. And wait for tomorrow, it will be on the dashboard. So we can see this dashboard right away, as I mentioned. Yes. And it's still 3 goals. But tomorrow, I believe it, Brian, level 1, 2, 3, we may have 3 level 1. And we have another one level 2, and level 3. We have Level 3, one more. Right. It's a plus now. Level 3, we achieve and no more. But sometimes officers don't want to submit right away. They have to wait for the next term because it's full already. They achieve the goal. My recommendation is don't do that. Submit as soon as possible. Don't keep it in your stock because the 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 sooner you give the recognition to the members, the better for them. Don't remain them for the next term. Is it my opinion? So any question so far? This is just a demonstration. You have to do more with the Club Central. Yes, or we can leave it to the Q&A session.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. So may I return back to our moderator, Rob? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kanu. And yes, you're quite right. The whole club center and everything is really important. It's good to get to know where you're around because people often have questions about that. So it's a good thing to learn. All right, so next up, just a very quick thing, we're going to talk about the support available to you as mentors and sponsors. So first of all, if you have any questions about mentoring, you can certainly contact me. If you've got any questions about being a club sponsor, you can talk to PPAT, or you can also talk to Linda or District Director Venus. But there's also a lot of support from Toastmasters International as well. So I've just posted a link in the chat, and I'll just share my screen. We'll take a quick look at that. Okay, so for the benefit of anyone who's watching the recording of this, we're going to, the link is at toastmasters.org/about/contact-us, or you can just Google Toastmasters contact information, you'll probably find it. But there's a whole load of information on this page. If you go through this, there's a lot of contacts for all kinds of different parts of Toastmasters, but the ones we're interested in here are you see over here we have club sponsors and mentors. There's an email address especially for that, so if you have any queries, that you can always send a message to them there and they'll help you with that. And you can see there are also lots of other contacts for officers and so on. You can ask questions about pathways and things like logging in, awards, and just about everything else you need to know. There's someone can help you with that. So between the help we can provide you at the district level and the help you have at the Toastmasters international level, you should be able to answer any questions you have. So there's plenty of support to help you in both the club sponsor and the club mentor role. So that's pretty much all there is to say on that. So let's move on, and we're going to go back to Lana, who's going to talk to us about how to run an online meeting and to deal with the new era of physical face-to-face meetings. So over to you, Lana.
Thank you very much, Rob. Okay, let me share screen again. Ew, what happened to my screen? Okay, got the right one up. Okay, my next topic is just understanding Toastmasters meeting. What does the Toastmasters meeting consist of? So to plan the meeting, you must understand what are the components of the meeting, where or how these meetings are being held, whether it's going to be face-to-face, hybrid meeting, or a virtual meeting. How often your meeting is going to be, how long is the meeting going to be, and what is the structure of your meeting. So I'll just go through each one of them briefly. Just some pictures to show you. If you have a face-to-face meeting, that's your live meeting, it can sometimes be held in a hotel, it can be in a church venue. So it depends on where you are. And if you have your online meeting, most of our meetings are held using Zoom. So you will have a Zoom meeting with a Zoom account, like what we're doing today. So what are the major components of a meeting? Basically, there are three main components. And how you want to move it around is up to you. But definitely, we will decide on table topics, prepared speeches, and evaluation. Unless we're so, I would say, creative, like what Capital did, starting backwards, they will do evaluation first and then prepared speech and table topics. That's just for the fun of it. But these are the three main components. Any other thing you want to add in is up to you. So if anybody wants to plan, these are the main three components. All right. What I normally do is we always have a first part, which is an introduction. The introduction can be done by the Sergeant at Arms, who may be the one to warm up and welcome all the guests. The Sergeant at Arms may have the guest list and will introduce or ask them to say a few words, how they got to know about our club and where they're from, just a few words, just to get them to say something. Then hands over to the president, on then to the Toastmaster of the day. So that's just the introduction. And if you are in a club that has word of the day, thought of the day, all these can be at the beginning because it's a warm up session. And your round robin will come in very nicely at this section of your meeting. The next part is what we said, prepared speeches. When you do your prepared speech, you have the introduction of the speaker. You talk about the purpose of the project, usually by the personal evaluator. What is the title of the speech? And how much time is allocated for that speech? That's part two. Usually when we finish that, the first half of the meeting is complete and we normally have a break. It all depends. If you're having a live meeting, your break will be much longer because probably 10 minutes or 15 minutes because you probably be making a cup of tea, having a few chat, maybe take some photographs. And this is a good time for socializing. We all then come back and convene to the next part of the meeting, which is the second part I will call part 3 in this list. You may want to then have your table topics. But as I said to you, you can either do table topics first or you can do prepared speech first. It depends on your club. So table topics usually will be having at least 5 topics. And you will give them a chance for impromptu to have a mini speech of 2 minutes usually. But it's up to your club whether you want to go further into a 3 minutes topic session. It's up to you. And the last part, which is a very important part, is to have the general evaluation session. You will have a general evaluator who will then call upon all the personal evaluators, inclusive of the table topic evaluator. So each one will be given the time to evaluate the speeches. And of course, to help her or him in this section are the other team role players. You will have your R counter, which is all the unnecessary words that you have heard during the speech. You may have the grammarian who may want to do a little bit of a correction of better English, or may come across some lovely phrases or statements being used or descriptive words that were used and will expand on these nice words being said. Of course, the timer is very important to give a report on the overall time spent for each of those sections. And the most important part is the general evaluator will observe the whole meeting and will evaluate all the role players. He or she will evaluate the Toastmaster of the day to make sure the Toastmaster of the day has started on time. If there was a theme, if it was being utilized, you have the R counter, whether it was doing a good job, the timer, if it's very specific, on time, and how was the overall mood and atmosphere of the meeting. So she evaluates the whole meeting generally. This is a very important role by the general evaluator, and it does benefit the club to allow the club to improve and for all the role masters to also improve. Now, some clubs also will have the Best Speaker Award, the Best Table Topic Award, and the Best Personal Evaluator Award. If you have that for a live meeting, you can send out this little poll to be given out for people to fill up the names. And then we will have an award. So the ending usually will be by the president, who will share the results. And if you have awards like the ribbon, or you may have awards like a certificate, this can be given out and a photo can be taken for memory. In the point of view, if you are having a virtual meeting, we will use polls because you have the polling choice in Zoom. And if you do use that, then you can have 30 seconds, flash it out on screen, and everyone can vote. Okay, so that concludes the format. This is only an example, and you can change it whichever way you want to. And the important section is at the end. We normally will also ask the guests, if you have guests, to give some comments. How did they feel? Did they learn something from the meeting? And share with us. So this is something that we encourage you to get your guests involved, to give some feedback and invite them to come back again. All right. I was mentioning to you about the Sergeant at Arms. I did this for the club officer training, and I just wanted to just briefly do the overview because not every club practices this, but it is a good idea because the Sergeant at Arms builds the atmosphere as well for the club by welcoming everybody. And then you can introduce your guests, just to tell us your name and what brought you here. Now, if you're online, do give some club ground rules. Example, to mute your voice so that we don't have any disturbance. And if you are having a live audience, to mention to have the mobile phone on silent, things like that can be said. It's important that if you have guests to also do the mission of the Toastmasters Club before you introduce the president. So that's just a guideline that I did, which I thought I would share with you because the Sergeant at Arms is also got a very important role. All right, let's talk a little bit about live meetings nowadays because of the pandemic. A lot of people are concerned meeting up. So if you have the capacity of the room to make sure you have the seating arrangements spaced out, have a hand sanitizer available, some extra face masks just in case. We try to avoid any handshakes. So in Thailand, we are okay to have the Y. You can have the elbow bump. So it's up to you, but we try not to have handshakes. Now, I'm being a nurse, I'm very particular about disinfectant. So I know we do use microphone and we do have surfaces, tables. I would use disinfectant wipes or Dettol just to have a wipe before you start the meeting. A well ventilated room is also important. And the most important thing for a meeting is you begin your meeting on time and you close your meeting on time according to your agenda or as published. So, a very quick comparison between live and online meetings. We use the gavel during your online meeting, and you also have your gong. So, like what Toastmaster Rob was talking about, they have a big gong in Bangkok Advance. It's great. Just use whatever you have. And if you don't, for online, just verbally say the meeting is now open. For signals, you can use menu charts for both online as well as for live. The only difference is with your Zoom, you can use your virtual background for your color charts. And that one you can add on in Toastmasters to be put in. Banners and so on, as you can see now, there's someone, Toastmasters International has got a banner there. So if you want to have the recognition of Toastmasters International, have it as your background as well. So that can be physically seen. So as I mentioned to you, polling can be either physical or you can do online Zoom. The brick is a little bit different between one and another because you don't need to make your coffee and your tea, so your time is shorter for online. And the roles extra is photo shoot takes a little bit longer, getting people organized, but a virtual screenshot is nice and easy. Just a few seconds and you've got it. Now, the main thing that's different is your Zoom Master. I will not talk too much about the Zoom Master, but I just want to let you know the Zoom Master is usually the Sergeant at Arms. So it is important that your Sergeant at Arms knows the duty of being a Zoom Master. And we always recommend the Zoom Master to use a laptop or a desktop because a mobile phone has its limitations. Just bear in mind to do that. So I was talking about the ground rules earlier on. So just make sure that mobile phones are switched off on silent and for virtual, all on mute until you're called to unmute and you use the reaction button for any claps and so on. So in conclusion, how does one structure your whole meeting? I think you will have to look at your club practice, whether you're going to customize it according to your club practice. Some clubs, as I said to you, starts off with maybe a joke, maybe starts off with table topics. So you go by what your president has made a decision on. And some clubs do read the club mission, and they also have induction of new members. So whatever you have, inclusive of installation of officers, recognition of members, training, body language, we may have events, birthdays. And for example, when we had a meeting, joint meeting with Japan, they actually have a prayer said before the meeting. In the US, some clubs, they will say the oath of allegiance. So every club may have their own particular way. So I would say follow what is customized in your club. And you sometimes in some clubs, the Toastmaster of the day has the say. And this is some clubs gives it free flow. You are the chairperson. You design your own agenda. So anything goes. The objective is to have fun, enjoy the meeting, and learn from it. And that concludes my session. Back to you, Rob.
Okay, thank you very much, Lana. So that gives us just a few minutes left for questions and answers. So anybody got any questions? Makes it nice and easy. Good to have District Director Venus with us as well.
You came just in time, Venus.
Yeah. Well, we obviously did such a good job that we answered all the questions.
I had a question earlier on from Hanoi Toastmasters in regards to approval by in pathways. So she now has got the answer that the approval can be done by any base camp manager. But for Club Central, you cannot do your own because your name would disappear in Club Central. So somebody else has to do it for you. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, cool. All right. Any more questions? We've got 2 minutes left. No, I think we're all good. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll wrap it up. So thanks to everyone for attending, and especially big thanks to Lana and Tanu for your very helpful presentations. So I hope that's filled in some gaps and told you more about how the mentor role works and how you can help and what you need to, the kind of information you need to pass on as a mentor. So we'll be back again next week for the final session, and hope to see you all then. So thanks very much to everybody for joining in, and we are recording this, so if anybody wants to watch it again, or if somebody else wants to watch it, we should have recording available soon. So thank you to everybody and enjoy your evening. Cool. Right. Right.
Good night, everyone. But I
All
have
right, good
good
night, everyone.
news. We will open
Okay.
Agoda very soon.
Yeah, how did that go, Venus? Was it a good meeting?